understand that the Austrian School of Economics, with exponents such as Ludwig von Mises, Friedrich Hayek, and Murray Rothbard, provides a solid theoretical foundation for understanding markets, currency, and economic freedom. This school of thought, by valuing individualism and voluntary cooperation, leads me to conclude that economic progress is driven by decentralization and the absence of state control. In this context, I see Bitcoin as one of the most disruptive innovations of the 21st century, a practical application that offers an alternative to the traditional financial system. Through reading Mises, especially in his magnum opus Human Action, I learned that economics is essentially a science of human choices. He explains how individuals, motivated by their subjective preferences, coordinate their actions through the market in voluntary interactions. From this, I came to understand that currency, as a medium of exchange, store of value, and unit of account, plays a central role. Furthermore, Mises highlighted something fundamental: a sound currency must preserve its value over time, protecting individuals from the devaluation caused by inflation. Hayek, in works such as The Road to Serfdom and the Denationalization of Money, warned me about the dangers of centralized economic power. He argued that competition among currencies could be a path toward achieving financial stability. This idea helped me grasp how a decentralized monetary system ensures economic freedom, an essential condition for prosperity and innovation. Then we arrive at Murray Rothbard, one of the main proponents of anarcho-capitalism, who made me reflect even more deeply by criticizing the state monopoly on currency issuance. In his works, he argued that total decentralization and a currency based on sound standards, such as gold, are indispensable for a fairer economic system. With these ideas in mind, I understood the impact of Bitcoin, created by Satoshi Nakamoto in 2009. To me, it represents the concrete application of many of the principles championed by the Austrian school. Being a decentralized digital currency based on blockchain, it eliminates the need for intermediaries, such as central banks. Moreover, its monetary policy, with a fixed limit of 21 million units, ensures that the currency is resistant to inflation, aligning perfectly with the views of Mises and Rothbard on the importance of found money. The blockchain technology underpinning Bitcoin also fascinates me for its security, transparency, and censorship resistance. When I think of Hayek's prediction in the Denationalization of Money, the possibility of private currencies challenging state currencies and promoting greater economic freedom, I see how Bitcoin exemplifies this idea brilliantly. Another crucial point for me is the Austrian business cycle theory, developed by Mises and Hayek. According to them, the artificial expansion of credit by central banks distorts the market and creates economic bubbles that inevitably lead to crises. Bitcoin, with its limited supply and algorithmic control, strikes me as a robust alternative, promoting stability and predictability. Rothbard, in his critique of inflation, also showed me how it devalues currency and redistributes wealth unjustly, favoring governments and financial elites. For this reason, I view Bitcoin as a means of protecting individual wealth and promoting economic justice, as its decentralized nature eliminates the need for intermediaries. Before concluding, I must also address and refute the criticisms made by Austrian and Austro-libertarian skeptics regarding Bitcoin's potential. Firstly, it is often argued that the fundamental theories of the Austrian School of Economics are incompatible with Bitcoin, particularly regarding its use as a currency or store of value. However, I believe these objections often stem from misinterpretations or incomplete understandings of Austrian ideas. A common point raised is that Bitcoin, lacking intrinsic value and not backed by a physical asset like gold, would be incompatible with the Austrian conception of found money. However, Mises, in his theory on the origin of money described in the regression theorem, highlighted that money originates from a good that initially had utility in direct exchanges, but evolved into a universally accepted medium of exchange. Bitcoin, as a digital asset, meets this initial requirement. Its utility in the digital context, security, transparency, and decentralization grants it value. Moreover, its adoption as a medium of exchange and store of value is a natural reflection of the evolutionary process of money described by Mises. Another common argument is that Bitcoin's high volatility disqualifies it as a store of value. However, this view ignores the fact that the status of a store of value is not fixed. but constructed over time. Gold, historically viewed as a store of value, also experienced periods of high volatility before achieving widespread acceptance and stability. Furthermore, Bitcoin's fixed monetary policy, with its previously mentioned 21 million unit limit, eliminates the risks associated with inflation, something Mises and Rosbad deemed essential for found money. Thus, Bitcoin is undergoing a maturation process that, although still facing challenges, positions it as an asset capable of preserving long-term value. Some also critique Bitcoin's decentralization, claiming that the absence of a central issuer or state regulation would render it incompatible with the monetary systems advocated by Hayek and Rosbad. However, this critique seems to overlook the core of Austrian philosophy, the defense of voluntary cooperation and competition. In the denationalization of money, Hayek argues in favor of competition among private currencies as a means to achieve stability and economic freedom. Bitcoin, as a decentralized currency, embodies this vision by allowing individuals to choose an alternative to the state monopoly on currency issuance. Additionally, critics suggest that Bitcoin, not being widely accepted as a medium of exchange, fails to meet the Austrian criteria for functional money. However, as Mises pointed out, found money does not need to be universally used in all transactions, but rather must ensure its role as a reliable medium of exchange and store of value. Bitcoin's growing adoption, by both individuals and companies, shows that it is moving in this direction, especially in economies where fiat currencies are highly unstable. Another objection pertains to the energy costs and environmental impacts associated with Bitcoin mining, seen as barriers to its viability. While this concern is legitimate, it disregards the increasing efficiency of mining networks and innovations in the use of renewable energy. Additionally, in the Austrian context, the production costs of a monetary asset are less relevant than its ability to preserve value and facilitate economic exchanges, characteristics that Bitcoin has consistently demonstrated. Finally, many critics point to resistance from governments and central banks to Bitcoin as proof of its unsuitability as a currency. However, this resistance does not invalidate Bitcoin's fundamentals. On the contrary, it reaffirms its essence as a decentralized alternative beyond state control. The Austrian school has always emphasized that the state monopoly on money generates inefficiencies and economic distortions, something Bitcoin seeks to correct. Therefore, rather than being incompatible with Austrian concepts, Bitcoin represents a natural extension of these principles in the modern digital context. It not only reflects the ideas of Mises, Hayek, and Rosbad but also offers a practical application that challenges the status quo, aligning perfectly with the values of decentralization, economic freedom, and found money. Despite these qualities, I acknowledge that Bitcoin still faces challenges. Its volatility, for example, limits its use as a store of value, and I recognize the resistance from governments and central banks, which view it as a threat to the state monopoly, resulting in regulatory attempts that partially hinder its widespread adoption. Even so, I believe its growing adoption, both by individuals and companies, indicates that it is solidifying as a viable alternative to fiat currencies. Lastly, Bitcoin extends beyond the financial aspect. To me, it embodies Austrian ideals of individual freedom and voluntary cooperation while challenging centralized control. I believe its technology has the potential to transform various sectors, promoting transparency and efficiency. In conclusion, I see Bitcoin as a revolution in the global monetary system and a practical application of the ideas of Mises, Hayek, and Rosbad. It rescues fundamental principles of the Austrian school, such as the defense of found money, decentralization, and economic freedom. Even with the challenges it faces, I believe Bitcoin can transform the global economy, promoting greater financial autonomy and providing a fairer and more efficient system. For me, it represents a concrete alternative to the traditional financial system based on state centralization and manipulation.